Hey guys, it's Dustin here, and it's that special time again when new consoles have launched. After months of anticipation and speculation, it's finally here. You've got a shiny, new, maybe kind of weird box, a few new games, and nothing but optimism for the future. But this is all dependent on if you are able to get one. Unfortunately, console launches are synonymous with shortages, and the sad part is, this is nothing new. Nintendo has had numerous shortages throughout the years, with some being the most famous, dating back to 1988 with Super Mario Bros. 2 or the Nintendo Wii in 2006. Shortages aren't just exclusive to Nintendo though. I remember trying to get an Xbox 360 in 2005. I had worked out a bit of a deal with my parents. See, I paid for half the console with birthday money I got, and they offered to pay for the other half along with the game under the condition that it was my main and for the most part only present for Christmas. One big problem was we couldn't find one before Christmas. So while the day itself was a bit disappointing that year, we were able to find one just a few days later at a Target nonetheless. Though I was disappointed once again once I started playing Perfect Dark Zero. So here we are in 2020 with the same old problem. Everybody wants a PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X, but there isn't enough supply to meet the demand. One of the biggest issues to pop up in the internet era of shortages is scalpers. This also has been happening for quite a few years now and doesn't just apply to game consoles. Basically, anything that's both limited and in high demand will end up on sites like eBay or Craigslist for a substantial markup. I remember looking at eBay during the Nintendo Wii launch and seeing consoles that were going for $400 or $500 when the console itself was just $200. Again, this was a situation I got lucky. I found one the day after Christmas, so it turned out alright. What we've seen though in the past few months with hot in-demand products though seems much more sinister than a few one-off consoles being sold for profit. James Batchelor over at GamesIndustry.biz has reported on groups of scalpers that purchase literally thousands of next-gen consoles using bots simply to scalp them. There's a UK-based group called Crep Chef Notify that was able to purchase close to 3,500 PlayStation 5s using online bots. Now, while I am a fan of the free market, this simply sucks. Buying up something that many people want in massive numbers just kind of feels like extortion in a way. Many people like to point the finger at Sony, but the issue really lies in the retailers on this one, in my opinion. It's true, you're never going to be able to stop someone from buying multiple of the same item that are technically one per customer, especially with the nature of online sales and multiple accounts, but there are measures that can be done to at least slow them down. For example, using a CAPTCHA can help slow down the process since each one needs to be manually entered by a human. Also, sites can check and make sure multiple orders aren't going to the same location with the same item, same credit card, things like that. So while scalpers are clearly an issue right now, I unfortunately think the issue around shortages goes much deeper. As you all know, this has been an absolutely crazy year on a global scale. Between economic uncertainty, supply lines, and a host of other issues, many thought early on that these consoles would be pushed out of the year even. Despite all of that though, the consoles still launched and are selling extremely well. This is where I think the issue is twofold. The first side is the supply lines, and honestly this is more of a theory as I have no experience with actual global manufacturing. Due to the current world events, I'm betting a huge strain was placed on global manufacturing. Worldwide lockdowns surely slowed the production of key components, creating a situation where they simply weren't able to produce as many consoles as they would have liked. Despite that, PlayStation head Jim Ryan has gone on the record with the Washington Post saying the PS5 would have more in stock at launch than the PS4. And remember, PS4 sold 2.1 million consoles in the first 2 weeks globally. This brings me to the second half of the twofold issue I mentioned, overall demand. While the pandemic has unfortunately decimated many sectors of the economy, it's actually created a boom for video games. According to Richard Chess at Bloomberg, quote, "The video game boom caused by the pandemic is expected to send industry revenue up 20% this year to $174.9 billion, outstripping earlier forecasts and dwarfing the market's global growth in 2019, end quote. People currently and throughout the year were stuck at home. And as we know, one of the best ways to pass the time, of course, is video games. We saw this with the unintentional perfect timing of Animal Crossing New Horizons, selling over 26 million units in less than a year, making it already the 28th best-selling game of all time. It goes beyond Nintendo though, as both Microsoft and Sony have seen extremely abnormal growth at this point in the console cycle. More people are into video games than ever, and while it may have taken a global pandemic to get some people into the ecosystem, I'm betting many of them are here to stay long after we go back to normal. So let's review. The PS5 is being manufactured and released in one of the most trying years in recent history. Supply lines and manufacturing are in extreme demand due to potential lockdown delays. The good news is, Sony is saying that despite all that, they were able to stock more consoles than the previous generation's launch. The bad news is, it's simply not enough due to the insane boom in gaming during the past year. On top of that, scalpers are better than ever at snatching up consoles that do go on sale. When you lay it all out on the table, it at least starts to show maybe why we're in this situation and why PlayStation 5 is so hard to get. So the big question now is, when will the supply meet the demand? All we can really do is guess at this point, but looking at the info we do have, it doesn't seem very good. Jim Ryan, in an interview with Russian news outlet TASS, said, quote, "Everything is sold. Absolutely everything is sold, ellipsis. I've spent much of the last year trying to be sure that we can generate enough demand for the product. And now in terms of my executive bandwidth, I'm spending a lot of time on trying to increase supply to meet the demand," end quote. So while you can't directly compare Microsoft and Sony since they're two very different companies, we can look at Microsoft to get an idea of the overall landscape. Xbox's CFO Tim Stewart has said, quote, "I think we'll continue to see supply shortages as we head into the post-holiday quarter, so Microsoft's Q3, calendar Q1, end quote. Xbox Series X might be in short supply until April 2021. The Series X is in very high demand, just like the PlayStation 5. But overall, right now, the demand for PlayStation 5 appears to be higher. And no, this isn't some kind of dumb console wars argument. Forbes has confirmed via British search agency Rise at 7 that the PlayStation 5 was the most wanted game console in 84% of the global market. When you put all this together, you can see why Sony might be holding on to the PS4 longer than we originally thought. If Xbox won't be able to meet their supply till potentially April, I'd expect it to be much longer before the PS5 is in a good spot. So for everyone out there trying to get your hands on one of these next-gen consoles, I really hope that you'll be able to get one. I know it's going to be tough. Keep checking Wario64 and other deal Twitters, and just be on the lookout. You never know when they might pop up. Overall, unfortunately, I think we're going to be in this for the long haul as far as supply. But what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments what you think, and make sure to subscribe to us here at Colin's Last Stand for new episodes of Side Quest every week. If you hit the bell, you'll get notified. You don't want to miss it. All right, until next time, thanks, and we'll see you guys later.